What's up, guys? Spin Firearms here, and today we're going to talk about why Glock is the best handgun company on the planet. It's going to be a long little discussion, but hear me out first. First, I want to say this, though. I have about 11 or 12 different firearm brands just for handguns, and basically at least one of everything. I have a Taurus. I have 4 Tauruses. I have a SIG P365X. I used to have a P320 Compact. I have Glocks. I have Springfields. I have Smith & Wessons. I have a Bursa. I have so many different firearms. I could keep going. Springfield Armories, FN. I can keep going on and on. I don't discriminate. If it's a good firearm, it's a good firearm. But there's a reason why Glock is the best out there. And I'm going to start by saying this. SIG, I know all the fans are immediately going to jump to 2 things. One is going to be modularity, and 2 is going to be that the our people overseas, our armed forces, they carry a SIG. And that's true. That does mean it's a great firearm. It doesn't mean it's for you. Probably, it might not be. It might be. For me, no, it wasn't. The P320 Compact, which is a variation of what the military uses and stuff like that, wasn't a good fit for me. But they got that contract not because it was the best firearm in the running. If you guys think government contracts are about the best stuff, that's only high up. That's nukes. That's stuff like that. When it comes down to just a side piece, it's about how much money they can save. Trust me. I know a lot of people who, are involved in that whole area of life, and they said the same thing. They said a lot of people they know that are still in the armed forces, whether, the people I'm talking to aren't or some are, they said that everyone they've talked to, or majority of people, don't like it. They said it's harder to clear malfunctions, which we knew because it's not as simple as something like a Glock. On top of that, some reliability issues. But when we talk about that, Beretta also had some issues when they were our, military's side piece. So, it happens. But here's the thing. The modularity, Glock has just as many frames as SIGs. Maybe not for the Glock 26 and the smaller ones, but for Glock 19 and Glock 17 frames, they are so readily available, it's not even funny. Here's the thing. A lot of people already like the Glock grip angle and already like the feel of Glock. Also, it gives it that Glock look. But if it comes down to it and you want to discuss that versus SIGs, there's polymer 80s. There's all these metal Glock frames that are made out there, aftermarket, stuff like that. There's all these plastic aftermarkets. There's all these Glock clones. Do you hear a lot of people say, oh, that SIG, that SIG clone? You don't hear that often. Do you hear Glock clone? Yes, because it's such a simple design that works, that's reliable, but also it allows being interchangeable with all these different firearms, brands, frames, slides, literally all interchangeable. And that's an awesome thing. Also, the magazines are all interchangeable, which is amazing. SIG does have, extended mags and stuff like that. They also have the modularity, which, like I said, is a great thing. It's an awesome thing to have. But Glock has just as much modularity. I'm just going to be real with you. Now let's talk about reliability. When a firearm comes out, and it's all over, everyone's talking about it, doing reviews and stuff, problems come out. The first year or two, that's when problems tend to come out. I know people have, some issues with Glocks here and there. That could be maintenance on the firearm. That could be if they're limp wristing it. There's a lot of things that go into a malfunction. Now, if you're an actual good shooter, a decent shooter, and you're shooting, are they self-induced or probably not? But someone who's newer and stuff like that, and they say that it's the firearm that's jamming, you got to question that a little bit. But other than that, here and there stories, you'll hear this, you'll hear that, which you don't always know the background to. You don't hear of any major issues, major recalls, setbacks, stuff like that. You just don't with Glock. And to be honest, that would be huge. People don't like Glock in the firearm community. They would put that out. They would blast it everywhere. Just like when the SIG P320 Compact went off in that person's purse. We don't know that to be true. I'm telling you guys, we just don't know if that's true. It could be a way to save her, but we don't know. It'll probably we will never find out. There will be no definitive answer. You know what I mean? But think about reaching into a purse, grabbing for stuff, it is what it is. But you don't hear about that with Glock. And then also when it comes to clearing malfunctions, you don't hear issues with that. What is the number one takedown of a firearm? When you think of a firearm, the quickest takedown or like the number one takedown, it's a Glock takedown. The Taurus uses it. The Stoker uses it. It's used everywhere. Also, just the genius of Gatson Glock to create a polymer firearm that runs the way this does and can handle recoil. I mean, that's what started all these other firearms that we all love. If you're talking to me about a SIG P365X, and so on, all that came from this polymer Glock that originated, with their designs. which is an awesome thing. Here's the thing. People like to hold this against Glock, saying they're not innovative, they don't make any changes to their firearms, they're always the same. I'm a plumber. Our number one rule is if it's not leaking, don't fix it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Same with Glock. Same thing. Because here's the thing. You start cutting into old plumbing and stuff, it becomes an issue. With Glock, if you have something that works, is so readily available. Literally, I have 10 parts kits sitting in my bedroom right now. 10 parts kits for Glocks. Like, I'm ready for anything. If all my Glocks just gave out today, I could probably fix every one of them. You know what I mean? That wouldn't happen, but I could. Also, chances of your neighbor having Glocks. And, if crap hit the fan, having that interchangeable parts, being able to fix it. Also, simplicity. You're not sitting there working on an FCU all day long. The FCU is a great, amazing setup. SIG created something that is amazing in the fire control unit. So I can't say anything. It's genius. But it also is more prone to harder clearing of malfunctions. And Glock, it's not like that. It's simple. Also, when's the last time you heard someone say, "Oh, I can put together a whole fire control unit in 2 minutes"? I can literally take an empty Glock frame, strips upper, put the whole thing together in 2 minutes, and then maybe another 2 minutes for the sights, and we're good to go. We're ready to shoot. That's huge. People take that for granted. Also, the magazine compatibility. Being able to take a subcompact Glock 26 and put a 33 round OEM magnet that runs flawlessly. Reliability top notch. And that's true. I've never had any issues. Out of all my Glocks, the only issue I've had was with one magazine, and it's because I put a new base plate on it. That caused the issue. And all I had to do was be worn in a little bit. It was a little too strong, and it wasn't caught. The round couldn't feed. Also, I was using an aftermarket barrel. But you don't hear about problems with Glocks. You just don't. You'll hear about something here every now and then, or you'll watch people shoot online, and you're like, are they, is that on them? It could be. Riding the slide stop, all sorts of stuff. But, yeah, when it really comes down to it, that the biggest thing is accessing it, because what do we need this for? To protect ourselves. If stuff goes completely wrong, you want your firearm to last as long as possible, and you be able to maintain that and take care of it. And so I know people say, oh, when it comes to Glocks, they've sort of failed. Like, after it's being submerged in water and you take it out to shoot, it didn't cycle as well. There's Marine cups. I have Marine cups in my carry Glock 26. I have Marine cups in my Glock 19. I have Marine cups in my Glock 27. So basically, if anything, the odds of it, first of all, that doesn't freaking matter. If you are a civilian population, the odds that your firearm is dunked in water prior to a self-defense encounter is just unheard of. Unless you got into a fight and it spilled over into a little pond or a wishing well, and then you had to draw. You know what I mean? And still, that first round that's already chambered would go off. It's recycling, or it's when that firearm cycles where the issue comes in for that next shot. Light primer strikes and so on. But anyways, that's literally all you need to change. When it comes to... But here's what it really comes down to is, what firearm do you know that has had the least recalls, least issues? Because that's what it's about, right? Being reliable, being there. Who cares if a Glock is the world's ugliest firearm? I don't think it is, but a lot of people do. When it comes down to it, I'd rather have something that's reliable, going to be there no matter what, that's a workhorse, can take a beating, and is going to function. Also, I do like having a drop safety or a trigger safety that I can see. There's something about that. Now, obviously, we all want to carry with a round in the chamber, but we've all heard stories about SIGs. It makes it a little hard for me to want to carry with a round in the chamber. Even though I do it, it still makes me a little nervous. It should be safe. Most kinks have been worked out, but still, I've had 2 SIGs. My P320 Compact ran smooth as could be, awesome trigger, great shooter. Just wasn't for me. So I can't fault that. It just didn't work out for me. But my SIG P365X, 400 rounds, issues, about 1,000 since, no issues. I love it, But makes me nervous again for issues and stuff like that. Anyways, thanks for watching. That's why Glock is the best firearm brand. Doesn't matter. Price. That's the last thing we should get into. Price. It offers all that. Parts compatibility, magazine compatibility, reliability, simplicity. It literally takes all that stuff, throws it together, and it doesn't smack you in the face with an $800 price tag. And honestly, I don't care about adding a comp. Like the SIG P365X macro, what makes that firearm so great is the 17 rounds in such a thin, compact setup. I don't care about the compensator. Like, that's why I don't care about Glock adding compensators, internal No, we don't need that. We can shoot fine without a compensator and that extra half inch. You know, I'd rather have Glock start competing with magazine capacity. I don't know how they're going to do it because I love the magazine system. But honestly, if Glock stayed this way, and still made just minimal changes here and there, I'm still going to be a Glock man, Glock fan. I'm still going to be buying Glocks. But does that mean I'm not going to buy another SIG? No, I have a couple SIGs I've been eyeing down. Does that mean I'm not going to buy a Smith & Wesson? No, I love my Shield Plus. I love my CSX. I love my 380 Easy. I like all fire brands. But when it comes down to it, Glock is the best overall brand. I don't think it can be debated. Thanks for watching.